What is going on, soccer fans? Welcome to the first episode of the Soccer Shots Greater Hartford, Central Connecticut podcast. My name is Seth Wilerziak, and this is my co-host, Shannon Perry, who is the owner of the Greater Hartford and Central Connecticut Soccer Shots franchise. Shannon, how you doing today?
Good morning, Seth. Great to see you.
Yes,
Looking forward to doing this with you, and thanks so much for spearheading this. Really
of
looking forward to it.
course. No, of course. I'm really excited. First episode. Very excited for the viewers to get a taste of what Soccer Shots is all about. So today's episode, as you can see from the title of the video, will be all about what is Soccer Shots, and who better to give us a breakdown of Soccer Shots than one of their franchise owners, Shannon Perry. All right. So are you ready to get into it?
I'm ready. I think a lot of better people, but unfortunately, y'all are stuck with me for a little bit.
Nah,
So
nah, come on now. Don't sell yourself short like that. You're the best. You're the best. Come on now. All right. So I got a list of questions here for you. Again, all gonna be soccer shot related to give our audience a taste of what we are all about here. So let's jump into it. So my first question is, how did Soccer Shots get started and what inspired its creation?
yeah, it's a great question, Seth. Actually, Soccer Shots franchising started 20 years ago. This is the 20th year of Soccer Shots franchising, which is really exciting. And yeah, I think it was started. Why a lot of us got into soccer in the first place, just because of love of the game and kind of remembering what the game brought to us as kids and the different paths it took. It was started
Right.
by three guys who played together in college at Messiah College, which for those of you who don't know is a Division III power. And they played together and got out of school, and one started this little thing called Soccer Pals. It was actually called, and then called a friend of his, and one thing led to another, and that's how it started nationally. And then I got involved 5 or 6 years into it in the Connecticut region. Kind of the same thing. It's a longer story for another day, but it was kind of loved the game, loved kids, and saw that there was this little thing, kind of clicked on it and saw there was none in Connecticut. And within 3, 4 weeks, I had, found myself standing on a bunch of wood chips with a bunch of 3, 4-year-old kids wondering what the heck have I done with my life. So Soccer
Yeah.
Shots in Connecticut has been around for, oh boy, this will date me, but I think this is the 14th year if I'm not mistaken. So it's been
Wow.
incredibly rewarding in so many ways.
No, that's awesome. That's really cool to hear. And yeah, you've been a part of it for a long time. And um, I think I remember you mentioning before when we talked off camera. Were you the first Soccer Shots in the Northeast region
Yeah,
or New
yeah.
England region?
I was the Northern Flag, Northeast most first one in New England, and I used to joke that we weren't connected. I was Soccer Shots New England, so I covered the whole area. But yeah, it was the first one up here, and boy, when I got involved, there were probably, I don't know, 30 locations across the country, most of which were in the Mid-Atlantic region. And now I should know this, but now there's probably 150, and
Wow.
across the country, from Miami to Portland, Oregon, to even one in Hawaii, and there's an operation now in England. But one of the most fascinating things is if you go to a soccer shot session in, say, Austin, Texas, it's going to look just like one in Simsbury, Connecticut, and it's really cool to see. And it's really a community. I mean, all the soccer shots locations, uh, they're small businesses, and we are really close knit group, and we interact a lot with each other. So it's a real community feel to it, unlike
Yeah.
some larger franchise systems you see. So yeah, so that kind of gives a little bit of balance of really feeling local and hands on the ground, but at the same time having a network throughout the country.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. And that actually is a perfect pathway right into my next question here, which is can you give us an overview of Soccer Shots and what makes it unique to other youth soccer programs?
Yeah, we get that question a lot. So I think probably it's kind of easy to start what Soccer Shots is not. And what we are not is, and I get this question all the time, is we are not a league. We're
Yeah.
not going to take someone's child at 3 years old and look to advance them to the U3A team and the U5A team and get all the way up to the U18 academy. That's not what we're about.
Yeah.
We are about introducing the game in a fun way and really having a lasting impact around the kids we serve. So I think
Yep.
that's what makes us different. Our mission is building stronger youth beyond the game. And so whether a kid is coming and picking up dandelions like my daughter used to do, or cones, or they really are into soccer, we want them to love that experience. So oftentimes it's their first time they've been to a soccer session, the first time they've had a coach Seth, for example, and just making them feel comfortable and safe and creating that learning environment. Because you can't become the next Messi or the next Mia Hamm without a certain love of the game, and that's what we're trying to create. So that's what makes us different. I think the other thing that makes us different is the ages we start. So we start at 2 years old. So we have our Soccer Shots mini program at 2. And then we have our Soccer Shots classic is 3. So, when we talk to folks and potential coaches, they're generally amazed. What are you doing with those 2s, 3s, and 4-year-olds?
Yeah.
And, so that makes us unique, and we're very good at it. I think that's what separates us from other programs is a really caring about the kids and the families who give us the gift of their child being a part of Soccer Shots. So, our emphasis is much on character. What kind of adult is this young person going to be in life, as well as introducing them to soccer, and really embracing the love of learning. If they go on to be ballet or dancing or karate, that's okay, so long as they take that love of learning and remembering what their first experience with soccer is all about.
No, definitely. Completely agree with that. That was great. And for our audience at home that doesn't know, I'm actually one of the coaches here at Soccer Shots. I'm going to be going into my third season, first spring season, which I'm excited about. And yeah, I mean, you pretty much nailed that. It's all about learning and helping these kids grow, both on and off the field, and just making a big impact. So that kind of brings me into my next question here, which is, can you describe kind of the core values that shape our Soccer Shots curriculum?
Yeah, so I would say that really our core value is that we believe that children can just learn through play, and that children can develop socially, emotionally, physically, linguistically through soccer and play. So that is, that's value number one. Kids are learners wherever they are in their ability or emotionally, physically, that we believe they can learn, and that play is a great teacher. That's our core value. I mean, at the end of the day, and how to play is so fun. We all learn when we're having fun. We tend to, take risks, and we want to take risks. We want to try new things, and really, I think personally, that's probably a core value that I bring to Soccer Shots. I want our coaches take risks, take chances, have the kids take chances, bring challenge, age appropriate challenge. So, those are, what I feel like are core values of Soccer Shots, and in particular Soccer Shots here. At the end of the day, if a kid feels like they learned something, accomplished something, and walked away with smiling, we've done our work, we've done our job. And so that's what I would say what makes us really, really unique.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree with that more. I know I've told you many times before, when I first came here to Soccer Shots in the fall, I didn't know what I was getting myself into. And When you guys showed me the curriculum at first, I'd never seen anything like it, but in a good way, and in a really good way. It was fun and engaging. I mean, the possibilities are endless with our curriculum. I mean, we take these kids to outer space. They're superheroes. We go through the rainforest. Like, it's anything that their imagination can think of on Soccer Island. You can always have fun with it, and I think that's what makes our curriculum really special. So
Yeah, I think actually, Seth, I'm glad you brought that up because I think imagination is a word I should have mentioned a lot earlier, and just keeping coming back to imagination in our curriculum. As you were speaking, I was reminded, if you look at our curriculum, it's got as many early childhood educator fingerprints as it does soccer footprints, right? So having coached at many levels, premier levels, and older kids and younger kids, I think when the older we get, we always assume kids are having fun. So it's not necessarily our priority. We don't walk into a U16 practice and say, oh, what can I do to make sure they have fun today and tap into their creative side? Whereas you 4-year-old, you're like, okay, how can I make this fun? What can I do? Where are they going to go? And you don't know. Imagine if, we were coaches at any age and you kind of walked in with a possibility thinking rather than, oh my goodness, I got to do this because we got to win on Saturday against, Rocky Hill High School or what have you. It'd be a completely different thing. And as a player, how free you would be to do that as well. So I'm glad you brought that up. Yeah.
Yeah, no, definitely. Completely agree with that. And that also kind of brings me into my next question, which is, what skills, both soccer and life related, do the kids develop through our Soccer Shots program?
Yeah, it's interesting. As during the pandemic or coming out of the pandemic, the national office kind of did a survey to anyone who's ever done Soccer Shots before and discovered a few things. And one of the things they found out were the reasons why families sign up for Soccer Shots. And there was socialization, kids being with kids, especially coming out of the pandemic. That was a big issue. Fun and fun. And then soccer, being good at soccer is like the third or fourth thing in that list. So, that's kind of, if we remember that, that's kind of what we're about. So, if you take those things in mind of what we're about, that is what Soccer Shots is about. So I'm sorry, Seth. What was your question? I do this a lot. I get so excited about Soccer Shots. I feel like I'm on Soccer Island. I forgot what
No.
telling me to do here. But
No. You are good. Yeah, just about the skills that
so the skills, right? Yeah, thank you.
Off the field.
Thank you for that, right? So if I was a Soccer Shots kid, you have to be, all right, Coach Shannon, are you going to stay on Soccer Island today? Because over there is Soccer Shots. Yeah, so the skills, right? So each session, you and I talk about this. It's kind of hard to describe. You can't almost have to see it, but you almost tap into your old self. But every session is structured exactly the same. So there's the same rules. Every coach across the country, every session. Rule 1: listen to your coach. Okay, so if kids want to have fun, they've got to listen. You've got to create that environment. Well, you take that skill, that lesson, and apply that to life, right? Be a listener, be a learner. If you can do that, and then good coach saying, if you're a good listener, this is an amazing place. We're going to do all kinds of things. We might go be superheroes. We might see the Cookie Monster. But we've got to, right? So staying with that. So if you listen and stay engaged, the possibilities that life can bring you. So, that's just setting the tone right then and there. We also have a character word every week, which I doubt any soccer organization has across the country, right? So, first week is always respect, right? Being nice to each other. And that's it. No Webster definitions. You want to be nice to your friends playing soccer. We can't play soccer if we're not being nice to each other. Also creating that environment, right? Where kids feel like they're being treated nicely as well. So there's confidence, encouragement. So each session has a word of the day, and then each session has a skill of the day. So whether that's dribbling, passing, shooting, or pullback sort of thing. And, we often forget, you and I are former players, but a pullback is the easiest thing in the world for us. Well, for a kid who's never even could barely put their foot on a soccer ball, we one roll and then pull it back. and go the other way, they've got, encouraging confidence to do that, right? So, I've got oodles of stories where you watch a kid and they say, I can't do it. That's the worst thing you want to hear. I can't do that.
Yeah.
Well, can you
Right.
try to do it, right? And then when they do it, how happy they are, and you've created that environment of confidence, and then building on that skill the next time. So every session has got a word of the day, skill of the day, a goofy game around that particular skill. So if I alluded to pullback, maybe Coach Seth is the big furry cookie monster, and the soccer ball's my cookie, and I've got to do
Yeah.
that pullback to get away, and I've got to be really confident and brave to do that, right?
Right.
So you do some things like that, which probably every soccer person has done some variation of some silly game, and then everybody gets to score a goal, right? So and cheering them on. If the word of the day is encouragement, and cheering on your friends, and then then we scrimmage, which does not resemble soccer at all, except you have a bunch of people running around chasing a little round thing. But that
Yeah.
structure, within that structure, every session, the weekly session, it's the same structure. And so kids
Yep.
get comfortable in that structure. They know where they're going. And it's fascinating to watch. I know you've seen this, you have that shy kid the first day, the first week, and then
Yeah.
gradually they know what's happening. And when they know what's happening, then they want to take risks. They want to do different things within what's happening. So it's, as exasperated as we sometimes become, hurting all these little people, pausing in that moment. Sometimes I try to remind myself, if they're running all over the place, it means I'm doing something right, because they're
Yep.
having fun running all over the place. But
Yeah.
so how we frame things, I guess.
Yeah. No, definitely. That was great. Yeah. You just took exactly what I was just gonna say about the risk taking, and just the kids being able to break out of their quietness, shyness, and truly develop both on and off the field with their skills that we teach them every week. I mean, it, like you were saying about the pullback, like I've coached so many sessions now. I've seen kids who could barely put their foot on the ball week 1, and then by week 8, they're turning into Johan Cruyff, doing Cruyff turns and crazy things like that. So
Yeah, and what's funny? I think we were all there. We don't remember we were there, but we were all there, right?
yeah.
And
Yep.
and you're thinking, I kind of view, soccer. So I'm not an artist. I'm a horrible artist. I can't draw. Saw me draw a stick figure, looks exactly the way it did when I was 7 years old. But my mother was an artist, and she was convinced everyone was an artist. We used to argue about this. And so, but I've tried to take that mindset to Soccer Island, right? Soccer Island is this canvas. And yes, we have
Yeah.
a frame, which is the curriculum, and we have, every artist has got more or less working with the same colors, and we're all working with these kids. And then how do we paint that canvas? Whether it's pullbacks and cooking, or how do we paint that and create it? So, although
Yeah.
you and I might be working with the same curriculum, the picture you've created over here might be different than the picture I've created over here, because the kids are
Right.
different abilities and colors, and you're different than I am. So that's the beauty and the magic of Soccer Shots. And I think if you
Definitely.
look at our curriculum, it's also got probably a lot of the stuff in there is created by some kid who had a great imagination, said, no, Coach Shannon, I think today we're going to do this. And you just kind of run with that, because, because it's a beautiful thing. So, so I think that's, that's to me the fun of Soccer Shots. And I learned as much from the kids as I do as they learn from me. I hope they do. And there's just too many laughs that I can even think about.
Yeah.
You mentioned, you take the pullback, right? So I do this thing where, if they're 2 or 3, the first time they do a pullback, what do? They just pull back and they stand there. Okay.
Yeah.
That might be perfect at that age, their first time. But I used to do with, 4-year-old kids. Remember when you were 2 and you did a pullback and you stood there? Well, you build on that, right? Now, can
Yeah.
you
Right.
change direction? Can you change speed after your pullback? Can you do the row? So there's always a building of what they've learned previously, and they get some confidence and mastery. So then, like anything, get a little bit more and a little bit more, and that's what they build confidence, and then they want to do things. Sometimes, once in a while, you have I can do a pullback, but look what else I can do, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's always cool to say too.
Right. No, I completely agree. And you kind of touched on the next question I was going to ask when you were talking about how each coach kind of makes it their own. So this kind of gets me into the next question about how do you adapt sessions for different skill levels and learning styles?
Yeah, that's probably, I guess a teacher would probably say this also. And I guess in a way we're teachers, that's often the most challenging thing is you could have you have two 4-year-olds and one is the shyest, never touched the soccer ball ever and never been outside, and then
Yeah,
you have another kid who you kind of know is, got 5 older brothers and sisters, and they're just trying to compete with them and is ready to go.
right,
So,
right.
as a coach, we keep our group sizes small. So our ratio is small. A typical soccer shot session doesn't have more than 10, 11 kids. That's max, but most of them are probably 8, 9 kids at a time. So,
Yeah,
coach does have some time to just interact with that kid, but also within, that first days, we talked about the pullback, right? So we can have a group that we introduce the pullback, and you can kind of see that this group can do a pullback turnaround. They're going to go places, right?
yeah,
Another group might not, but within that group, there's different abilities. So you're trying to pay attention to which kid can do what, and raising or lowering the scaffold, I guess, of learning for each particular kid, but also celebrating the learning process. And paying attention to where each kid is. So if one kid can just do a pullback, that's their first time. We need to applaud that process. If another kid can do a pullback and they can run fast, you need to individually challenge that kid. Yeah, can you do a pullback
yeah,
faster than Coach Seth or faster than Coach Shannon? So
right.
praising them individually and where they are. And remember, what we're trying to do is introduce soccer in a fun way. So understanding that and respecting where each kid is. But kids are amazing learners. I had to learn this. They will, a kid who cannot do something, yeah, they learn from us. And as coaches, we always assume they're soaking in whatever we're saying.
Yeah,
They're
right.
but sometimes they're just watching their peer group. So, if there's little 4-year-old Coach Seth over there who's doing these pullbacks and Cruyff turns, little Shannon over there is watching this and sees that, oh, in his head, if Seth can do that, I'm going to try that.
Yeah,
So how did that happen? So Coach Shannon created a safe environment. Seth is a kind of a kid where he can do all this stuff. So he feels safe to do all these things. Meanwhile, because he's doing all these things, little Shannon over here sees that. So he's learning from the other kids. So how do we create that environment? So that's one way to handle differentiation. Encourage the kids to go as far as they can. Other ones will learn, but also find out where each gift is from every particular kid. There might be something. One kid's a great listener, so respecting where they are as great listeners, whereas little 4-year-old Seth may not be great. And I'm not saying the word Seth, but he may not be a great listener. But it's all those things. But just as coaches, we need to be always cognizant of where each kid is and adapting it that way, just like you would be if you were coaching a college team or something like that. Understanding the ability levels of each player, understanding what motivates each player. I encourage our coaches, get to know your 4-year-old or your 3-year-old, right? You will play harder. You will take more risk if you think your coach cares. In college, you will play harder and you'll take more risk if you feel like your coach knows what you're doing in school or knows about your stuff. So, hey, Sal, I love your shoes today. Hey, Seth, man, that is a cool Spider-Man you have on your shirt. What's your favorite food? And they want to tell you. And they're less likely to be a problem for you because they want to please you and they want to do well for you. It seems obvious, but I both know in the moment that can sometimes be difficult.
for
Sure. And you find out things, and it becomes fun to differentiate with different kids, right? So maybe Sally has never touched a soccer ball, but Sally might be super fast. So how do we incorporate her speed into whatever we're doing? Whereas Jennifer might not be super fast, but she's really creative or something. She has an idea for a new game. So just always recognizing and appreciating individual differences, not just in soccer, but just in who they are as individual human beings. That was a long answer to your question, Seth. And I know you have to suffer through my stories a lot, but
No. Hey, listen, that was great. I loved every bit of that. I was only just gonna add something small to that. Just from personal experience, is I never realized. I mean, I do now, but at the start, something as a coach that I didn't realize was just how adaptable you do need to be, especially in certain situations, because there are going to be those fun games or those goal scoring games or that skill or whatever that you do that for some reason it just does not work for that particular group on that day. And that's happened to me multiple times. And you got to be able to think quickly and uh, figure out what can you do to get the most out of this group, to keep them engaged, to keep them having fun. Sure, maybe you're going off the curriculum a bit, but sometimes you have to make it work. And that's kind of leads me into my next
are
question.
you saying, Seth, sometimes you've been with some 10, 3, and 4-year-olds and it hasn't gone as planned? That's just shocking for me to hear.
Something like that.
Yeah, something you said. You have to go off the curriculum. Yeah, I kind of view it as you're not going off the curriculum. You're kind of changing you're changing the road of the curriculum, right? So
yeah, that's a good way to put it.
The curriculum is this big map with all these kind of roads on it. We're giving it's like the GPS. We're going to tell you the route you should take, and it's going to go this. But there's some alternative routes that you might be able to take.
Right.
But you got to know as a coach, and you got to know the road and where you're going. Otherwise, you can't go all these magical places. But yes,
right.
you and I have talked about that quite a bit, and I think you were going to ask about being good coaches. I think sometimes that's the hardest thing, especially when you're first doing it. Even for me, when you're first doing this, is when we have all this curriculum, we have this structure, and we know where we're going. But the kids don't know your curriculum. They don't know where they're supposed to go, and they just want to go. And what happens when they go over here? And that's that's a challenge when you're trying to do it. But it's also, if you can stay with it, sometimes where a lot of the cool stuff happens out there.
Yeah, true. That is the beauty of it, that only you know where the session's gonna go. The kids, even the parents have no idea. So that's always a good thing. But yeah, no, exactly like you just said. That does give us a good segue into my next question, which is about the coaches specifically. So my question is, what do you look for in a great Soccer Shots coach, such as Coach Seth? Wait, who said that?
Well, yeah. So, what do we look for? I think, when we're training coaches, question I like to ask is what makes a great Soccer Shots session, or what makes a great Soccer Shots coach? And, if you know those things, you kind of know what to find. Obviously fun and energetic, right? So those coaches who can bring a certain amount of passion and energy to a session, and that's kind of the first thing. And, do they have that? And, I used to interview a lot of coaches, and the first question, that silliness factor, I would ask them in an interview, give me your best silly face. And imagine, you're a young coach and you're looking at this old guy and he's asking you to give you the best silly face, and you're a stranger. The coaches who could do that with me inevitably turned out to be great coaches, because I knew if they could be crazy and silly with me, they were going to be fine out there. It's not to say everybody did that right there, but I always remind them if they didn't do it. And, I would sit there and wait, because they thought I was joking. You've got to have that silliness factor. And that doesn't mean you need to be the ultimate extrovert, because I've seen plenty of introverts who all of a sudden something happens to them on Soccer Island. You also have to have an understanding of your impact. Every coach needs to honor their impact of, the kids. The kids are watching everything you do. And you don't even know what they're watching sometimes. And it's so many times we think if a coach does not respect that, you don't have a choice whether or not you're going to have an impact. You have a choice whether you're going to have a positive impact, lasting impact on that kid, or whether you're going to have a negative impact. And you
Right.
need to honor that. And this is not about anything about you're not going to get rich doing this. Your reward, as Hokie says, your reward is going to be on those moments where you've connected with a kid. And they've learned something, and they're just giving you the drawing the picture for you, and writing the note, and they're hugging your leg, and you remember what they were like in that first. That's the reward, and that's the impact. And you need to, I know you've heard me tell these stories about years later, some kid I don't recognize will come back and remember who I was. I'll be at a grocery store trying to hide, right? Trying to buy, I'm having like a 7-year-old. I'm trying to buy beer, and that's not the impact I want to have, but. You need to understand that. And I think, as we were getting back to, the kind of the curriculum, is every coach has got to be prepared, right? They've got to be, yes, there's a lot of winging it, so to speak, out there, but you can't do that unless you're prepared and know what you're going to do. So and being present and comfortable with chaos sometimes. And I think if you've got those kinds of things as a coach, you're going to be okay. And have fun, right? If you're having fun, they're going to have fun. I think you just said it, Seth. The kids don't know what they're going to do that day. Anyone who's watching you doesn't know what they're going to do. Only you know. So you've got this whole thing. If you can be okay with that, and kind of be innovative and creative around that, you are going to be fine. And there's all types of different people who turn out to be great soccer coaches. But I think the one thing they have in common is they love learning. They love learning, getting out of their own comfort zone a little bit and watching others learn, and believe in the possibility of what people can learn. I think sometimes coaches, you forget how old they actually are, right? You kind of like, you're talking to them like they're, either you become 4 or they become older, and you just have this whole thing. But they are sponges. They are absolute sponges. And for me, as I said earlier, I've coached a lot of, this is, these are the funnest ages for me as a coach, because they really want to learn. And then when they get frustrated, they will, and then they succeed, they will tell you, you will know your effectiveness as a coach. So those are all the things we look for in coaches. If you love soccer and you love kids, you're going to have a lot of fun out here. So those of you who might be interested, we're always looking for folks who have that and who want to do
Definitely.
that. And I'm sorry, Seth, because at the end of the day, you'll have whatever, our logo and this and balls, and we'll give you all those things, and you have all that Soccer Shots brand stuff. But at the end of the day, whether or not a child likes Soccer Shots and wants to play, it's Coach Seth. Did they love coming to see Coach Seth every week? Did they love coming to see Coach Emily every week, or Coach whoever? That becomes great. So that is the most important thing we do, is getting our instructors to understand that.
Yeah. No, that was a great answer. Completely agree with all that. I know that I'm made up of all those qualities, so that's.
But it's also interesting, not to get on that thing, but it's fun to watch. It's been fun to watch you as a coach. I can remember early on to watch coaches get comfortable with their own journeys. And
no, it definitely is.
And I always say, every time I coach a session, and I've done probably 10,000 40-minute sessions, I learn something new. Or if I watch a coach who's never done it before, or I'm always learning. So because you're always having different kids in different situations, so there's always something new, and that's what makes it fun.
Yeah, right, exactly. I agree with that.
If I could do nothing but coach and do podcasts with you, Seth, life would be good.
I know, right? That'd be amazing. Oh man, and leave all the business stuff to the side, right? Because that's actually what my next question is about. I hope our audience enjoyed that very good breakdown about our coaches, the curriculum, the kids, kind of what we're about. This next question that I'm going to ask has to do a little bit more on the business side of Soccer Shots. Kind of just give the audience none of our inside secrets, but just give them a little taste about the business side of Soccer Shots and how we continue to grow year in and year out. So my question is, how does Soccer Shots partner with schools and public programs? Do you guys do we do cold calls? Do we visit in person? Do we get referred to? Do you think you could walk us through that process?
Yeah. So you just said it, right? So there's essentially two places where we do Soccer Shots in private locations, schools, preschools and daycares primarily, and then those public programs, which might be on a Saturday morning or Thursday evening. Those are the two places. Soccer Shots started really just doing preschools and daycares, and that was 100% of what we did. Now it's evolved where, it's probably, I'll say it's 50-50, but somewhere you'll find us on Saturday mornings at a park, and parents are there and families are there. Whereas a school, the kids are with their friends and there's no family there. So different vibe. They're with their friends and we're visitors at their particular school and their teachers. They know each other, so you don't deal with the shyness factor as much on that first day. Whereas public programs, 4-year-old might walk in, there's 3 or 4 coaches there, each with 10 kids. That means there's 30 kids and 2 parents or 60 parents. It might be grand. So, might be Wembley Stadium to that kid.
Yeah.
So those are kind of the two places we do it. We're doing the exact same thing at both places. So, we started with private programs. It was kind of, that was a lot of calls. Hey, we've got this program. We want to be in Richmond program, and we show you how to do it. And it really wasn't. It was a matter of not selling them. The best sell was, can we just show you how we do this? And can you get a group of kids together and we'll just show you how to do it?
Yeah.
That was kind of how that was. I don't want to oversimplify it, but that was more or less the sales process. And then the parents loved it. They're at the preschool. They didn't have to drive, to another practice. They're with all that. It's right in the school day. They loved it.
True. Yeah.
Then, and for us it was great. No one else is doing it. Well, then, they hear how we're doing. So the referral piece comes in. Do you think you could do it on a Saturday so I could see my kid?
Yeah.
Sure, let's do it on a Saturday. And I think our first program was, probably 8 kids somewhere, and then, you get other parents say, oh, I love what you're doing. So then it's just referrals, that kind of thing. And then, which led to partnerships with recreation and parks departments, whether it's Farmington, Granby, the list goes on, with different park and rec departments, West Hartford, that we're doing with. And really, now, it's more or less word of mouth and telling our story, and having families refer us and want us to do a program somewhere, or other a rec director wanting to do a program. So that's more or less how it's evolved. It's been an interesting thing to see it. We may be at a small school that only has 30 kids. We're only going to maximum touch 30 kids there in a season. Whereas in a public program, we might touch a couple of hundred kids that we wouldn't otherwise touch. And, it's led into, I think the first season I ever did was, I had a bag of balls, I had a car, and there was Coach Shannon running. I think I had 60 kids in my first season. And now this spring, we're probably going to touch 2,200, 2,300 kids, which is hard to believe when you think about it. And but really, it's because somebody heard, they love the impact it had on their kid. Can you do it here? Oh, you've got to sign your kid up for Soccer Shots. And really, it was, who was the coach, right? Oh, who was the coach, and all that thing. So yeah, so that's kind of a little bit off track. I went a little bit off the curriculum there, Seth. But so preschools and daycares primarily during the day, and then evenings. You probably see a bunch of orange shirts around somewhere during public programs, and we do ages 2 to 8 with three programs, but probably 85% of the kids we do are ages 2 to 5. Before they're into their tap leagues and that kind of thing. So.
Right. No, thank you for that breakdown. That was great, and you heard it here first, guys. If there's any schools or programs out there that are interested, give us a call, and we'd be happy to accommodate. So,
Yeah, and not to interrupt you. It's funny you
No,
said
you're good.
during the pandemic, we were doing them in backyards, right? So
Yeah, I remember
one
you
being their
saying that.
pods. So if you've got a backyard, we've done birthday parties and all kinds of things. Well, it's amazing if you have an imagination. It's amazing where you can create a soccer field, right? You can create that almost anywhere if you want to.
Yeah,
And
right.
so do not be constricted by space. Don't think we're too small or your yard is too small. It's amazing where we've done it.
Yeah, very true, very true. All right. Well, we got a couple more questions for you here. We're gonna dive right into the next one. The next question here is, how has Soccer Shots evolved over the years, and where do you see it going in the future?
Boy, how's it evolved? You just alluded to one aspect. I think it evolved from just doing it at schools, preschools, and I was 100% of it. Now it's public programs as well. That's been one big evolution. To me, one of the most striking things was the ages we do it. We used to not do 2-year-olds. There was no Soccer Shots mini.
Yeah.
You get the 2-year-old who, or the mom or dad, they've got an older brother. Can they do it too? They're almost saying. So you occasionally would have a 2-year-old, and then we started to create a separate program for 2-year-olds, which I was convinced at the time it's just never going to work. But is our fastest growing. It's hard to keep up.
Yeah, right.
That's been a big evolution for us. And I think that there's in terms of programming, those have been the two biggest initiatives. I think in time, we've done some other little niche things, special needs programs, which we call our Empower curriculum, which I don't think was on the radar when we first started.
Yeah.
And then just a silly thing, you get back to the business. I can remember, Seth, I don't even want to know how old you were when this happened, but Soccer Shots first started, you couldn't register online. You filled out like a permission slip and a piece of paper, and you got a physical check.
Crazy.
Crazy. All these checks, and you couldn't read the names and all this, but everything is online, and it's a lot easier for families to sign up now. And back in the day, you got maybe a T-shirt or something, and now we have Soccer Shots jerseys and all kinds. So there's been a lot of sort of things, but the biggest programming change has been the ages we do, and I think the curriculum evolved and gotten better. It's more dynamic now. It's not perfect, but it's gotten more dynamic. It changes just as you do anything. Malcolm Gladwell, the 10,000 hour rule. If you do anything over the course of time, it's going to improve and mold and meld. Then you just reminded me of this. When we first did soccer, there was no character word of the day. We believed we wanted to impact kids, but the curriculum itself, we didn't have the respect or confidence or teamwork as that word of the day, and really weaving that into the curriculum. So those off the top of my head, those are big change. And I've been through a couple of cars in my life, so
Yeah.
No,
those are some big changes, honestly. Some good changes. And would you say, because I know you brought up the minis kind of being a newer age group, would you say in the future, there's a chance of Soccer Shots hitting even more age groups, potentially over 8? What do you think about that?
Yeah, well, there's people smarter than I probably having that conversation. But we do go up to age 8, so it's our premier program, which nothing to do with premier soccer as a lot of families know it. So school age kids, and that's our smallest segment. And there's been a lot of debate about what we do there, and because there is that, there's nothing sadder to me when a mom or a dad, my kid's too old to start soccer, right? They don't want to play with the town rec league, or it's too serious, or we have a kid who's more or less done Soccer Shots several times and they've kind of ready to move on. Do we offer? Yes, we do. But they wind up in their travel league, and then the parents find, well, they don't want it to be that competitive. They still want it to be fun. And I was a parent coach, and it is a different sort of vibe. And so, is that what we're going to do without being in leagues, right? So do we create our own Soccer Shots advanced league where emphasis not on records or how many goals, but understanding kids become more competitive. Is that, but honoring
Right.
our values, right? Is that where we're going to go? Or
Yeah. I don't.
I don't know. Do we go to 10 years old, 9 years old, right? So it's 10-year-old is a different kind of coaching than a 2-year-old.
For sure. Yeah.
As you know, I know you've got some groups where you've got some 7-year-olds, which is very different than a 3-year-old. So that will be interesting. There's a lot of there's always been talk about that last couple of years about how do we expand more in that age group and add value and honor what we do. We don't want to be another puppy mill soccer organization that's just just reel them in, reeling it out. So it's I don't that's a good question, Seth. I don't know where that goes, but stay tuned. And but I do want to be clear for those families out there. Yeah, if you you got a group of 6, 7-year-olds, we'd love to do that for you.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's going to be interesting to see where Soccer Shots goes in the years to come. So yeah, that'll be cool. And we have one final question for you here. And this question is, what advice do you have for parents looking to introduce their children to soccer, and more specifically, Soccer Shots?
Having been, I guess I still am a parent. Having been a parent of young kids myself years ago, my first advice to parents would be relax and stay out of the way. Just stay out of the way.
Take a deep breath.
Just come to a Soccer Shot session, resist the urge to get involved, to coach your kid, and let them do it wrong. We know they're going to do it wrong, whatever wrong is. And enjoy their process and watching them learn. And just stay out of the way. Don't worry about if they're any good. Who knows what being good at 3 years old? What does that even mean? They'll be fine. They've already got Coach Seth out there telling them they don't need another voice and another voice doing all that. It's so I say relax and don't worry about it. Your kid might just want to. Their process might be just coming to Soccer Shots. That might be the victory for them that season. They do it the next season, it'll be a little different. The learning journey is not a straight line, right? So we all know this. It goes all over the place. So that's what I would say to parents. I'll say to parents, when they're in front of me, I say, all right, this is your 40, 45 minutes. Go have a cup of coffee, introduce yourself to another parent, build some community, because if this is going to be the next 20 years of your life is standing on sidelines, that kind of thing. So you might as well enjoy that part. And then I would say, when the Soccer Shots ends, it's probably the most important time is ask them what they liked about Soccer Shots. You don't even have to ask a soccer question. What did you like about Soccer Shots today? I liked the goose I saw flying over there. That's okay. Coach, I like doing the I like those, but what did you like and did you have fun? And ask those two questions and let the conversation go from there. And again, these are all easy things to say. I say this. I learned as a parent, but I've seen parents. I love to watch grandparents come because they're so chill and relaxed. They've been through it all. One of the learnings is realizing that often new parents, it's their first kid they're having do something, so they're naturally a little anxious and they're nervous too. And I think we need to understand that, but relax. They're if they're 3, they may not even remember. I say honor your impact. We hope they remember, but they're not going to remember as much as you do when you're taking pictures and all that kind of thing. But let them enjoy of learning and encourage them to try things and have a cup of coffee, chill. They're going to be okay.
They'll be fine. Yeah, no, that was great. I completely agree with that advice. Parents out there, just relax. Take a deep breath, because let me tell you, I've from my own experience, I've coached at those park programs where there's 4 different soccer islands set up. There's 80 parents out there. It's just pure chaos, but it's good and fun chaos. And the parents are always nervous. don't know where to go, don't know what to, like, and worried about what their kid's going to do, blah, blah, blah. And I swear, the parents are more nervous than I am, and I'm the one that's coaching them. So I agree with that advice. They just relax, everyone.
Just ask questions. Just ask questions
Yeah.
and see where they go. I used to joke with parents, when I might get a group of kids, and I say, all right, they'll come back to you when they stop having fun. It might be a couple hours, and just just aware, right? And but also, at the same time, it's okay, parent, if your kid's shy that first day, and you need to come out there with them a little bit. But I challenge parents to learn how to parent at that age, as well as let them learn how to play soccer. And sometimes the hardest thing about parenting is letting go a little bit. So, but always remember, your kids sometimes they want to let go, and that could be a big victory. If they could just stand there and wave to you, that's huge, right? You've won and they won. But yeah, stay out of the way, enjoy the process. And
definitely.
Yeah.
No, I agree with that. That was great. And that's it for my questions. I want to thank you. And well, actually, before we wrap up, can you let our listeners know how they can find more information or get involved with Soccer Shots?
The simplest thing is go to soccershots.com, type in your zip code. You'll find Soccer Shots, and there's 3 Soccer Shots operations in Connecticut. So you'll find out where a program is being offered. Sometimes we partner with a rec department, so check your local recreation department. And if you want to find Coach Seth, you can find him at the next Man U game. In front of television somewhere. He'll be the guy with tears.
Tears coming down my face. Yep. So, that'll be me.
Right, and be kind in those moments. So there's always another game. But so just go and then or send us an email, ct@soccershots.com. Go to our website, soccershots.com. You got ct@soccershots.com, and we'll respond back to you. So, and we're happy to answer any kind of questions you might have. But and try it, right? Yes. So if you feel like it's not time, we'll probably say, just have that person come out and try it for a day and see if it makes some sense for you. And if they're not ready today and they want to wait, that's fine too. So,
no, definitely. Definitely reach out to us if you have any questions. You could even comment on this video if you have any questions. We'll be happy to answer them here. So, Shannon, I want to thank you so much for taking the time to do this and giving us that great insight on what Soccer Shots is all about. And I want to thank you all for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed the first episode of the Soccer Shots.
There's going to be another one, Seth?
Oh. Another one? Are you kidding me? There's gonna be a lot of episodes coming out. We got some good content coming up for you guys. Don't you worry. This is one of many. We're gonna have a lot of fun with you guys. This was just an introduction episode, kind of get you guys an understanding of what we are all about, and we hope that we were able to help you and answer all your questions there. So I hope you guys did enjoy this first episode of the Soccer Shots Greater Hartford, Central Connecticut podcast. If you liked the video, please give it a like, comment what soccer-related topics you would like us to talk about next. And most importantly, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. This is Seth and Shannon signing off. And remember to always enjoy the beautiful game.